Is many years ago now since I sat at the feet of one of the scientists who had led the Green Revolution that transformed agricultural production in India. Before the Green Revolution, starvation was commonplace, but with new hybrid seed varieties and improved husbandry, India soon became a net exporter of rice and other basic commodities. Some years later, after leaving university, I taught at an agricultural management college in Swaziland. Participants came from all over the developing world for a 10-week course. One of the highlights of the course was the management game, where teams had to farm over 5 seasons, the winning team being the one that made the most profit. The temptation for the teams was to go for the hybrid seeds and high applications of fertilizer. But the weather patterns, randomly generated on our Apple computer with 256K floppy disk capacity, the latest, soon brought crop failure and bankruptcy. I was thinking about this just the other day when the new food policy protocols were announced, heralding a brave new world in food production. I have left the farming world long ago, but I couldn't help but wonder whether, like for the Green Revolution, the success or otherwise of new production practices is dependent on the intensive use of high levels of inputs. If this is the case, then there will be two consequences. The first is that we will be beholden to a few multinational companies for our food. Secondly, most small farmers, being the majority across the world, will be unable to either source the seed or the necessary inputs or be able to afford them at all. Small-scale sustainable farming will continue to be the norm, and as long as good harvests provide sufficient surpluses that can be safely stored, farming families will weather the poor ones. Why am I thinking about this? Because Plough Monday is the first Monday after Epiphany, and traditionally a holiday to celebrate the start of the agricultural year with the ploughing of the fields. This all seems rather quaint today with the practices of minimal cultivation, meaning no ploughing, and planting all through the year. But this is not the case for the vast majority of small farmers across the world. Preparing the soil ready for the planting of the seed marks the beginning of another agricultural year and the angst of wondering whether the forthcoming growing season will be favourable or not. Feast or famine? Not something that many of us probably think about. So as we bless the plough on Plough Sunday, let's remember two things. Well, three actually. The first is just how fortunate we are that we are several steps away from going hungry because the harvest has failed. Secondly, to ask for God's blessing on the countless families across the world dependent on a good harvest to survive. And then thirdly, to be generous in our giving to Kagera and those other charities seeking to help train small farmers with sustainable agricultural practices in these changing climatic times. For thankfulness, prayer, and generosity are the gifts that we have to offer. Thank you.